Claremont is a town of about 2,000 people, right in the heart of Catawba County, or at least the Catawba Valley District, which is central portion or Piedmont of North Carolina, right smack dab between Hickory and Statesville off of Interstate 40. Really, I think this Gal's Meal, as they call it, it was birthed out of, from what I'm told, because it started before I arrived, it birthed out of just how can we help relieve suffering and how can we reach out to people in need, especially in terms of food.
So our group is called Gals for Growing and Loving Servants, and we're just a women's group in the church that try to serve the community. So we started doing community meals before COVID, just occasionally, but when COVID hit, we started once a week to give folks a reprieve from cooking, or the folks that were out of work, a hot meal that maybe they couldn't afford otherwise. So we did that weekly for a little over a year, and now we've stopped doing weekly and we do monthly. So monthly you can come whether you need a hot meal or you just want one. We don't care. Drive through and we're going to give you a meal. At times when kids are out of school, such as this week, so they're on spring break next week, so we provide a bag of groceries as well. So kid-friendly things. At Thanksgiving, it's a Thanksgiving meal, so we kind of go with the season.
This church has had a long history of doing this sort of thing, reaching out to the community, being hands and feet of Christ, as they like to say here, and that is a part of their DNA. It's a part of the purpose for which they're called to ministry and to serve. It's been amazing to see really the blessing of people having a heart for others.
We have actually been very blessed. We have had fundraisers in the past, but most of our stuff comes through donations. And this is a ministry that has truly supplied itself.
Saw after January 9th, the tornadoes that kind of went through there. There were no warnings. There's no warning system in this area, and so it caught everybody off guard. And with that, we saw the floodgate of a need just a couple miles down the road.
That particular month, we actually weren't planning on having a community meal. We were going to take the month off, but a tornado came through and demolished the neighborhood down the street. So we threw together a community meal right quick, and we fed anybody who came through here. We also fed at the shelter, and we had some groceries then as well for those that needed it. We have so far prepared 375 burgers, and now we're moving on to chicken tenders. So a lot of people. We'll serve over 400 people today. The first thing I would say is find your group of folks that want to serve in this way and pray together. Because for us, that's how it started, and everything has just come together after that. Because God hears us when we pray together. He hears us when we pray separately, but when we pray together, He hears us loudly.
I remember reading a book a long time ago about how vision is birthed out of needs and birthed out of kind of that burden of what is versus what ought to be. When a few of these people just started reaching out to the tornado victims, all of a sudden, just by word of mouth, you have just literally dozens and hundreds of people saying, what can we do? How can we help? And they're giving.
God has shown up every time. There have been times we have stood in this parking lot and prayed and said, God, we're running out of food. We're going to need you to slow the cars down or bless the food. And He has done that every time. So step out in faith. If you want to give it a try, step out in faith.